Staying with all things pageants, for the first time in its 64-year history, the Miss South Africa pageant and the overseeing of an offshoot reality TV series will be produced and directed by an all-female team. The crowning of the new Miss SA will be taking place next month. Radio personality, of course, at Black Swan Media, of course, relatability Mabuja, and respected media producer and creative director Azania Mwendane, the girl power behind these two projects. They are joining us now. Azania is in studio with me and relatability is coming to us via Zoom. A very good morning to both of you ladies. I'll start with you, of course, Azania, and a very good morning to you too, relatability. Thank you so much for joining. Azania, I mean, certain statistics, certain facts, you know, we would be wanting to celebrate and be like, oh my God, first black, all-female, 64 years, but it's actually quite unfortunate that that's what the facts are, that it's for the first time in 64 years.
64 years that no woman has been a creative director, no woman has actually produced a show which celebrates women in their greatness. And I think the misconception is that, you know, pageants are just about beauty and swimwear, but it really is about, you know, bringing forth an ambassador for a country, bringing forth an ambassador for women's rights and for, you know, to empower women and for what they are, and showing our little girls that you can be whomever you want to be. And so for, you know, for men to have been the ones to kind of propel women, yes, it's good that men are doing that. It's not a bad thing. It's just that it's just, I think, shocking for everyone to realize that there's been no woman. And the fact that we are also black women in that is also something to be celebrated. So we're extremely excited about that.
I can only but imagine. What goes into a production of this nature, especially when you consider now that all eyes are going to be on the product, the project, the outcome of it, because it is now being led by black women?
It's an exceptional amount of work, because people really think Miss South Africa is a one-night event. It's an all-year building of this empowerment platform. Currently, we're sitting with our top 10 finalists, and we're in preparations for the main show. Our primary goal really this year was to try and find a way to almost redefine pageants, make them exciting again, make them more relatable. There's still many negative perceptions about pageants. So the amount of work happening behind the scenes, we're talking about the performers on stage. We have a set team, a lighting team. We have a massive crew. And I mean, Times Square at the Sunbet Arena is not the smallest of venues. We're looking at a possible crowd of 7,000 people, as well as broadcasting on Mnet and Mzansi Magic. So we are putting together a massive a night that I think is going to make a magnificent impact. It's going to be so exciting for us to welcome Lalela back on the stage, not only to say farewell to her as our Miss South Africa, but just to welcome her back home for bringing the crown as Miss Supranational. And the Miss SA team, I think, has set quite a high standard in terms of pageants around the world. We just want to elevate it and not just celebrate, oh, we're women. We also want to celebrate that we did a fantastic job.
You are a media personality who's somewhat knee-deep in terms of the current affairs of the country and even the world. You understand better than most what exactly is happening in society and what it is that affects the ordinary South African citizen. And now you're going to be putting up a pageant and you want to change the perceptions about not only South Africa's pageant, I think, even the world pageants. Why must then a South African care when they're dealing with high cost of living? They're dealing with no light, so they might not even get an opportunity to watch the Miss SA pageant and everything else that they're dealing with, mass murders, you know, GBV. Why must I then switch on my TV and actually care about what relatability and Azania have done?
Because representation matters, and this is one of the few platforms around the world that is specifically for women. And yes, as Azania has said, it's not about swimwear. That's a part of the things, but we look at what Zozi Bini did for us as Miss Universe. She gave a platform, she gave a voice to the voiceless. And the role, a big part of Miss South Africa when she is reigning, is her CSI and philanthropic role. All of the work that she does in terms of bringing, shining a light, bringing awareness to issues that are not dealt with. When we look at our top 10 finalists, some of them, you know, want to address mental health, others want to address education, others want to address unemployment. If there can be another voice that looks like me, that every young girl can look at and say, wow, if that girl from the township, from the village, can take on this task and bring light to issues that I am crying about but no one can hear about, that is reason enough to tune in and be a part of the selection of that ambassador.
Azania, talk to us about the reality show, Crown Chasers. I
Yeah.
mean, it's different. You know, people are not used to. Okay, so there's the pageant.
Yeah.
But then there's the reality TV aspect of the pageant. Why is there a reality TV aspect of it?
Because all we see is the pageant evening. And we don't get to see the growth of these women from top 100 to top 30 to top 10. And eventually the show which gives you the winner. And so it was important for us to show that it's not just about the makeup, it's not just about the hair, it really is about grooming the person inside. It's about grooming the strength of they go through self-defense classes, they go through empowerment classes, they go through grooming classes, they do a lot of photo shoots, and also getting the girls used to being in front of the camera. Because once you do win, the camera's on you all the time. How do you handle yourself? How do you remain centered? There's a lot of mentorship programs that go on. So it's a week-by-week understanding of the realities of the women, the moments of, deep introspection of themselves, but also the moments of fun. I mean, these girls have so much fun with each other. They get to know each other. And it's important also as an ambassador in this vein as Miss South Africa that you have to get to know people very, very quickly. It's not, you don't have a lot of your own friends around you. So how do you then get to become part of a sisterhood? And a big part of this process is that sisterhood, getting to know different women from different spaces, different creeds, different ages, different heights, different types of women along the journey. So the reality show was to take a step back and say, okay, this process is not easy, the judging is not easy, but you know what, they can get through it because they have help and assistance all the way through from the Miss SA company.
Azane, we can't run away from how Lalela Mswane stepped into the role and what then happened after she had taken over as Miss South Africa, where she initially had gotten so much support, so much love, as does, most black Miss South Africans, and it's not to say that, Miss South Africas of any other race do not get the love and support, but again, because of what Zozibini Tunzi did, that representation, allowed that young black girl to say, ooh, that could be me too. Lalela was one of those who, that is me too now. But then the Miss Universe happening in Israel happened, and she lost a lot of support and love from not just South Africans, but government. Would it be fair to say that bringing in the Crown Chasers reality TV aspect to it is letting South Africans in on understanding the beauty queens much better? And I don't actually want to call them beauty queens, queens in general, understanding them a bit better, understanding what it is they go through, understanding the decisions sometimes behind what comes behind the decisions that they take as human beings. Is that where Crown Chasers perhaps could be looking to change that narrative, to help with the narrative?
Definitely. It is about the strength of the woman and the strength, her resolve in the decision that she makes. Lalela made that decision very specifically because she knew what she stood for. She knew why she entered Miss SA in the first place, why she went through on a pageant journey. She knew that through a process of this nature, it opens her up to a lot of criticism, but a lot of opportunities. And for her, she knew that taking this step and participating in that pageant was, yes, it disturbed and disrupted a lot of people's values and where they come from. However, she knew that it would open up different levels of respect, and it will open up different levels of opportunities for her. And it showed the world that she was grounded in her decision and in who she was or who she is as a person. Now she's won Miss Supranational. It has said that wherever and whatever decision she makes, she's making it for herself first, but she also knows that there is somebody else that's watching, that's saying, okay, if she can make a decision that's very strong for herself, then I can do the same thing too. So it was really about, and this process of going through Miss SA teaches every single finalist to be strong in her resolve as to what steps she takes next.
Miss South Africa is primarily, I would assume, about the woman empowerment, making sure that, we put the woman and firstly what they go through, but also what they can be at the forefront, But what if a young boy is watching? What if a young boy does have interest in pageantry, in such, initiatives and such projects, and wants to understand them a bit better and wants to somewhat find some kind of identity or connection to them, that yes, it is about the girl, But, you know, as a boy, I also would like to, you know, I relate to it. It resonates with me. What then do you say to a young boy who resonates with Miss South Africa, even though the focus is on the girl?
I mean, first, you know, on that question, let me give a big shout out to my business partner, Bruce Townsend. And when we speak about, yes, we're an all-female team, but there are many men that we are working with that believe in the vision. Let me also shout out Werner Wessels, who is the creative director of Miss South Africa. He has been nicknamed the Queen Maker because that's what he does. He turns these young green women with dreams into queens, as he did with Lalela Mswane. So to the young boy who says there is something I see in this Miss South Africa that I'd like to be a part of, there are so many roles that you can participate in. Majority of our crew, from the cameraman to the sound operators, including in the art department, are men. Our stage designers, our set designers. So there are many men that are a part of this. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be walking on stage. There's so many ways you can be a part of this dream. You know, myself and CD, who's our content director on Crown Chasers, as well as Azania, were just reflecting on how as little girls we would watch the Jackie Mofokeng winning Miss South Africa. And now here we are being the ones deciding on how we want to portray Miss South Africa and how we want South Africans to jump on board. And let's keep in mind that we've had a transgender finalist that has been part of Miss South Africa. So anything is possible. The platform really is trying to find ways to break ceilings and break boundaries and to say to the rest of the world, hey, look at what we are doing as South Africa. We are redefining what pageants are all about. They are empowerment platforms. There are spaces for women to grow, and we can't leave men out of that conversation. We can't leave little boys out of that conversation. So it's just a matter of saying, how do we focus on the girl without neglecting the boy child?
Azania, Relebohile spoke about the narrative and how it needs to change about pageants. You touched on it as well, to say that it's not about just looks. You know, it's not about being in a bikini. It's not about talking about, I want world peace. Who doesn't want world peace? You know, there's more to a beauty pageant than just the beauty, you know, than just it being a pageant. You know, there's so many social constructs that are involved where the person who steps up there as Miss South Africa, there's so much else she's going to be dealing with as a representative, not only, I think, even of the country, but of the world. You know, you're part of representatives of the world. What do you want Miss South Africa to become in the next couple of years? Because, you know, there are the likes of Basisana Kumalo, Jackie Mofokeng, Pegisu Kumalo herself. You know, there are people who've taken this role and this opportunity, this platform, and have turned not only their lives into something great, but the lives of other people. So what would you like to see this pageant doing in the next couple of years as you look to change that narrative?
What I want it to remain is a platform for opportunity for any young woman that wants to enter. Where we want to change it is to make it more relatable. And so that the reality show starts that, but also the show itself. I mean, you opened up and said there's so many other problems and so many other things that are happening. Why must I switch over to a particular channel to watch this program? How do we want to make sure that the actual show itself remains relatable in the production? Want to make sure that the reality show itself grows from being a quick few minutes into becoming something that actually speaks about ambassadorship for women and little boys. It speaks about production. It's a very intense process. I mean, we've been doing this for over 17 years as professionals in the industry. We wanted to make sure that the narrative of a country is also brand, you know, a brand South Africa or a brand country that comes through. So what our intention is to make sure that at the end of the day, it remains relatable to the ordinary person on the road, on the street, but it's also very entertaining as well. I mean, this is going to be one of, you know, in recent times, amazingly entertaining show for us. Big banger openers, some few surprises, something different. So yeah, relatability, consistency, and to remain a platform for ambassadorship for our country.
We can only but hope that that's how it pans out. You know? But of course, I think people who are watching are now maybe getting a little intrigued and excited about what's set to come, because you know it's always important to have such platforms so as to dress, you know, what it is that they can expect. But Azania, thank you so much. Thank you so much to you too as well for joining us. Of course, that is Relebohile Mabucho, who is executive producer at Black Swan, and of course renowned media producer and creative director Azania Mwendani.